today is the day that I'm going to tackle all of my scraps. I'm going to get all of it cut into specific sizes and prepped for future scrappy quilting projects. So grab a cup of tea, get cozy, and hang out with me while I process all of my scraps. Hello friends, welcome back to Karla Created. My name is Karla and I absolutely love sewing. It's the one thing that I will never ever get sick of. I love sewing clothes and quilts, and if you're new here, welcome. Let's hang out today. I am going to be processing all of my scraps, and I'm looking around because I store them in various places. So let's start with this basket. This is the basket where I store all of my smaller pieces of scraps. So I keep everything. Why, you might ask? I don't know. I can't, not see the potential in fabric. If you can relate, please let me know whether you're the same in the comments. Even the tiniest little bits I tend to keep. Yeah, I'm a bit strange like that. So that is the first basket of scraps. Let me show you the next. Next up, I have this whole weird little box thing of all of my stretch fabric scraps. And I want to sort through these and get these cut and ready for a future scrappy quilting project, I reckon I'll do, because there's a lot of small pieces in here. So I'm going to take this out, and this is going to be processed this afternoon as well. This is like all sorts of stuff. It's like offcuts from other stretch knit projects, but then I also have like old leggings that my daughters used to wear that I can't donate because they've got like texture marks on them and things like that. So we're going to process all of that. Next up in this same cupboard, I have this tray here full of quilting scraps. So it's primarily cotton, but I also have this random bit of pink velvet, which I have no idea. I think my daughter maybe brought it home. Anyway, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. We'll park that because I don't know how I would use that it's such a small. Anyway, we'll keep that aside. I do love velvet. And then I also have this basket. This was from a quilt that I made for my parents, and I've got all the browns and greens and already pieced bits that are already stitched together. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I don't know how I'm going to process all of this. So yeah, there is that. And I do also have another box here, which I'm actually not going to touch today. So don't get too excited, because this is like all of the alternative fabric scraps. So if it's not stretch, if it's not like a cotton linen, it goes in here. So I've got like faux fur scraps in there. I've got denim scraps. I've got polyester scraps. I've got all sorts of random weird and wonderful things. So that is going to stay there. And we will just start with these, I think. Although in saying that, I also have these scraps here, which I don't know what I'm going to do. This is a vintage collection of scraps that I was gifted from my family, somebody in my family. And it is a beautiful collection. There's Liberty fabrics in here as well, which is really cool. I don't think I really need to process these because they're already cut into small squares. They're all different sizes though, but I don't know, maybe I should. Look, I'll park it. Let's get through this other crazy pile first, and then I can always come back to that tough one. Okay, let's close that. Alrighty, so here we are. I don't even know what I want to do with these. Perhaps I will do the small scrap basket last, because I have an idea to sort through it. Anything that's like a strip like this, so like the offcuts from projects like the selvages and whatnot, I have been keeping these because I have this idea to pull out my loom, which I have literally never used and I've had for like 8 years now, and do a weaving project, weaving all of these like longer bits of scrap. For what purpose, I don't know, just to use them up and then maybe make something kind of like cool, scrappy woven something. So yeah, I do have that idea, like even bits like that, like, because it's like a long, I'm not going to use it for anything else. And then all of the other sort of pieces, like I do have bits like that in there that I could cut down into other sizes. I will sort through and process. So perhaps I'll do that last. I'll just put that back on the shelf where it belongs. And maybe I get through just these cottons first. Oh gosh, I just forgot how much is in here. Like I even have like these little, how do you process your scraps? Let me know. I would be very interested to get some other ideas if any of you process scraps differently. I'm sure someone's going to comment and say, I just throw them away. But like I said earlier, I can't seem to bring myself to throw things away. And I've always been a bit like that. I mean, I do have my moments where I get ruthless and I'm like, no, get rid of it, Karla. You don't like it. You're never going to use it. And I've donated a lot of fabric over the years for that reason, because I'm like, I don't like this fabric. Like, why am I keeping it? So I have those moments, but they don't happen all that often. So yeah, a lot of the time I keep things because I'm like, oh, I could use that as like, you know, whatever, XYZ. I really like to set myself up with all of my scraps cut and prepped so that I can do the leaders and enders concept and make just a quilt by happenstance. Happenstance? That's not the right word. If you're not familiar with what leaders and enders is, it's where you stitch something before you actually sew your main project to avoid the sort of spaghetti mess that happens, like a nest of thread. I usually just have like little offcuts like this, which over time end up looking like that. But you can actually do it with scrap fabric pieces that you want to join together, and then you get like a bonus quilt. So I really want to do that because I like the idea of that. It would be very satisfying. Alrighty, let's start. I'm having a cup of chai tea this afternoon in one of my favorite teacups. I'd love to know what your favorite beverage to drink while you're sewing is. So how am I going to categorize these? I did see someone else on YouTube grouping all of their fabrics into, like this, for example, is 2.5. And I know that I would like to have a 2.5 strip pile. Yes, okay. Like maybe we can do, that could be like a 1.5 maybe, or a one. Maybe I'll do a 1.5, a 2, a 2.5. I think that's a good idea. So once I have all of these sorted into cutting piles, I will then cut them. That is a great idea. I don't think I want to do anything bigger than 2.5. What is this? This is, I'm just going to put any alternative fabrics to the side for now. So this is a rayon, not a very, you know, typical quilting fabric. Oh, I forgot that I had these cut. Oh, well, it looks like I've already got some half-cast square triangles cut, which I completely forgot about. That was from my easiest quilt ever video, which up until now was actually the easiest quilt that I've ever done, because for some reason I've tackled really complicated quilts at the start of my quilting journey, which, hot tip, maybe don't start with like half square triangle quilts or like on the point quilts, which is a little bit harder. What is this? Leftover binding. Yeah, it's gonna have to go in the, wait, is that 2 inch maybe? No, definitely 1.5 inch bar. Oh, I forgot I had these as well. I have some scrappy blocks already made. What am I going to do with those? What am I going to do with these? Like bits. What was my plan with these? Do I just finish them off and then maybe... I don't know. They don't actually match. Like that one doesn't really match. Oh, maybe it kind of does. Alrighty, I'm just gonna park them. Oh gosh, park them. Old pockets. Okay, let's try and get some 2.5-inch strips. Now, I have some little tiny pieces like this. I'm gonna need to create like a tiny piece pile. Let's... Why is this in here? Seriously, what? This needs to go away somewhere else. Little bits. And then, oh, why? Maybe this can go in the full weaving. Yeah, I think this is going to need to go in the weaving project. I'm not salvaging this edge of a bed sheet. Go in the other basket. So I guess one of the key things with this that I'm sort of asking myself is, what size is too small for me to keep, you know, separate from the other sort of small scrap basket? Because as you saw earlier, that other sort of basket that I've got has some bigger pieces and smaller pieces. It's been a bit of a catch-all, I think, recently, because I've been doing quite a few projects and I've just been chucking all sorts in there. So for example, this one here, it's a smidge less than an inch with a bit of variability across the length. So do I keep something like this? Do I do like an inch pile, or do I just put that in the other scrap pile? That's a tough one. Maybe I'll just start an inch pile for now and I'll see how much I've got. So like I've also got these little ones here. That's it. It's not quite 1.5 inches all the way. Let's just do an inch pile. Yeah, well, we're almost through one whole tray, so that's pretty good. I got like all little pieces. I'm gonna just put all those little pieces there. Usual fabrics over there. Yeah, so these little pieces, they're all generally, they look to be a bit bigger than an inch. So go, could be 1.5 inches, and 2.5, 2, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. Yep, they're all 2.5. Great. All right, one tray down, sorted, with the exception of this weird collection. Okay, let's put that there. I'll sort through this basket and then I'm going to cut. Alrighty. Something that I think is really great about quilting, and scrap quilting in particular, is just about how sustainable it is. It's such a great way to just pay homage to other projects as well. So for example, this green linen that I'm playing with now, I made a top, a very jazzy top out of this green linen, and every time I see this green linen, I remember that top. Every time I look at my scraps, it brings back memories. Now, what do I do with this? Oh, what am I going to do with this? Do I leave these and then perhaps put them aside for a separate project? Because they're already pieced. I don't know, I'm going to have to just put them separately, I think. You know what I'm going to do with all this brown? I'm going to make this binding. I'm going to keep this and I'm going to get this prepped as binding, because that's what I already did. So I've already got some prepped, so 3-inch, and just folded and ironed for binding. I'm going to do that. That is a brilliant idea. I'll get it prepped, and then I've got a whole bunch of dark brown binding, which I could even use on the next quilt project that I need to finish. Maybe I'll do that. That might work. Yes. Okay. I know it all looks very green. It's because all the greens are on top. So we've got 1.5 inch. So I'm going to cut those down to 1.5 inch, 2 inch, 2.5 inch binding, which I'm going to iron and turn into binding. The green linen, bigger pieces, which I have pulled out, they will go with my green rayon fabric and I will make a green patchwork dress. The already pieced pieces from the quilt that I made for my folks up the top here, I might maybe cut out some of the bigger green linen bits so then I can use them in the dress. We've got the HSTs, and then here's my small little pile of 1 inch, but I'm going to leave the 1 inch there. I'm going to trim down all of these, and then whatever is like less 1 inch or less, we'll then assess how much we've got and whether we make a 1 inch pile. Sorry, not 1 inch or less. Whatever is 1 inch, we will then assess whether I need to keep a separate 1 inch pile. Oh, and then over here is the existing small bits. We'll deal with them last, and then other weird fabrics. So like that's just a bit of rayon. That can go in my alternative fabric scrap box thing. And this is a whole bunch of little squares of stretch that why did I keep these? I don't actually know what I was planning to do with them. I think I was maybe going to use them as the center of log cabins, but yeah, they're a weird stretchy fabric, so maybe that's not a good idea. I've run out of tea. Maybe I'll make another tea. What's the time? Oh, it's only 1:30. That was really good. I'm super... Okay, I'm going to cut all this now. Let's put this into the weird box. Maybe I'll put those into the weird box too. I don't know about you, but I'm having the best time, and I really hope that you are enjoying hanging out. I can picture you having your cup of tea or whatever it is you're drinking and working on your own sewing projects whilst listening to me. It's almost like having a sewing buddy that's from afar that you can just hang out with. And I thought of doing a video like this, like a sip and sew type video, because I love putting other sewing creators' content on whilst I sew. I don't know, it's like hanging out like with someone who also likes sewing. So I thought, Karla, why don't you make some content like this? Because there's bound to be people out there who also do the same. And yeah, maybe they'll be inspired to process their scraps as well. Okay, here is an update as to where we are at. I have got 2.5 inch squares cut. I've just put them in sort of little groupings. So we've got a bit of a dark green grouping here. This is a solid, low volume, lighter grouping, although there is one print in there. I might move that out. I then have this pink, pink. And then this is just like mixed prints. And this white fabric, these are really, really long strips, so I didn't want to cut them up because I think I'm going to use them for another project that's not a scrap project. I've got all this fabric, new fabric here that I intend to use at some point. And I have also put the HSTs that were already cut back in my little tray. There's the brown binding that I made. And I also had 3 inch width pale pink fabric that I'd sort of partially made into binding. I think it was just the excess from a previous project. So I've just, finished making that into binding, and I've popped it there for a future project. It's not that much, but I can use it for, like, I don't know, the edge of something. I'm thinking I might make quilted machine covers to stop my machines getting dusty when I'm not using them, and I might bind it in this, but we'll see. Or maybe even a bag, or I don't know. Okay, friends, it's so much later. It's like almost 9 o'clock, which is so late for me. I have finally got through the primary scraps. I've got the tray here. Now I've got the binding in here for storage, and then I've also put the 2.5 inch, I've made squares. And I'm going to use those for leaders and enders. I don't have that many at the moment, but I have enough to get started. I also have sorted through and cut all of the bigger pieces of scraps. I have this little baggie. It doesn't look like a lot. It's very organized now. I'm really, really pleased. Of 1.5 inch wide strips and pieces, and they're all different lengths. I then have a very small amount of just 2 inch scraps. There's not very much in there, but I will just keep collecting those over time. I then have just kept those pieced bits from the quilt that I mentioned earlier. I've kept them separate because I might make like a little grocery bag or something to send to my mum out of that. We'll see, like a little quilted pouch or something maybe. I don't know. Mum, if you're watching, what do you think? Do you want a little tote bag for when you go to the post office? I don't know. Let me know. And then also I had those weird blocks, these ones. I pulled out the other sort of fabric that I had that coordinates with those blocks. So this weird kind of fabric. And I remember now what my plan was with those. I was going to do like some scrappy orange and creamy, yellowy sort of sunshine vibes. So I've kept them out in a little collection, and I will at some point just plod along and randomly stitch those together. That'll be an ultra scrappy type block something. Once again, maybe a tote bag or a pillowcase, or I don't know. So yes, we've got that. I then went through the basket, and so I now just have, and it's like just under half full of just these little tiny pieces. Why am I keeping these? Your guess is as good as mine. Probably because right now I just don't have the heart to chuck them out. I don't know. But they're there. And I have separated out all of this. This is like all of those long bits that I mentioned earlier that I'm going to do a scrappy woven something out of. Once again, what am I weaving? Scraps. For what purpose? Don't know. But I have a vision in my mind, and it's going to be amazing. Or it's going to look like crap. We'll see. I can just weave them all together, and worst case, it's like one big pot holder or like a rug thing that I can put the pet food bowls on or something. I don't know. That's an idea. It might be like a little pet mat for when the kitty cats come inside, if it's big enough, because they're pretty big cats. Maybe. We'll see. Anyway, so I've done that. All of that's done. The only thing I haven't started, and I'm not going to have time, but I will bring you along with me in the next part of this video, Sip and Sew, which I'm going to have to continue throughout the week, is all of this. Like, I'm so determined to get this as organized as everything else I just organized, because it just makes so much more space and room and clarity in my mind. And yeah, now when I want to just stitch fabric together, it's already cut and organized, and it will actually, you know, because I cut them to size and it's not just like random scraps, it's more likely to end up looking intentional and beautiful, which is what we want most of the time. Sometimes I just want things to look random and scrappy and haphazard, and that's okay too. So yes, I am going to park all of this for now and go to bed. because I'm spent. And then I will bring you along maybe tomorrow afternoon to go through like all of these stretch scraps. So you can see, yeah, some of these are going to end up in the to be woven into something or other scrap woven project pile. Others are going to be cut into, I don't know, squares of some sort. I've got some bigger pieces of these, not big enough to do all that much with, because obviously some of them are only like the two-way stretch, so they stretch this way but not really this way very much. So they're the ones I might use those in a quilt and maybe do like some bigger squares. See, we've probably got enough there to make multiple quilts. Ugh, got like the inserts from bikinis. I don't know why they're in there. They need to go in that random crap box. Oh, and these are cool. You know when you buy sheets and they give you the sheets wrapped in like in fabric packaging, which I get it, it's clever because then you can feel the fabric rather than it being wrapped in plastic. But then also, how many people throw these away? I mean, there's got to be many people that do not keep these, that throw them away, and it's just such a waste. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to have to unpick the cardboard to then salvage this fabric because, yeah, it's beautiful. It's Jersey cotton. We'll leave it there for now, and I will see you on a new day. I was up really early this morning and have started sorting through the stretchy fabric. I have got a pile here that has like really big pieces that I could probably reuse for other projects. So I'll handle that pile last. I have a really, really small bits pile, like with little pieces like this. And then I have like a medium bits pile. So I'm going to tackle the medium bit pile first. I have so many different colours. I'm thinking I might even aim to do like a bit of a colour wash quilt, maybe. Well, I have decided to start weaving my scraps. And I'm having the best time, so much so that I have not even thought about what I'm doing with the rest of those knit scraps. And I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, I know the basic premise of weaving, you know, in and out. You need to, each row needs to sort of be the alternate. There's all technical terms that I don't know, so please don't judge me if you know how to weave and you're watching me sitting here going, I'm just going to wing it. Because you know what? I think sometimes it's good to just wing it and give things a go and have a fun time. So I did ask my mum, who does know how to weave, and she just said to watch some YouTube videos, which I had a quick look at today on my lunch break. I just remembered that I had an idea last night to cut out some, as much as I can out of these scraps, this and the slightly bigger pieces, cut out a few patterns for girls' knickers. Yes. And I'm pretty sure I had a free pattern from Megan Nielsen. Yes, I did. So rather than just cutting up all of the fabric that I have into squares, I'm going to, before I do that, I will try and get a few pairs of girls' knickers cut out of the smaller scraps, which I think, oh, here we go. Yes, can't see that. Great, brilliant. Okay, I think that's a really good idea. Okay, a bit of a status update. I have finished cutting through the sort of smaller, medium-sized scrap pile, and I have cut them into little 3-inch squares, and then I've also done some where I had slightly bigger pieces. I've done 5.5-inch squares because I have an idea in my head where 4 3-inch squares can match up with a 5.5-inch square once they're all stitched together, if I've got my math correct. Anyway, I trust past Karla for coming up with that. So hopefully that works out, but we'll see. I have organised them into different colour ways, I guess, because I have an idea to do like a, oh my God, where are my words today? Like one of those colour wash quilts, maybe. We'll see. I don't have any green. I have got pink, blue, yellow. I've got red, orange. I've got whites, creams. I've got grey, black, and dark sort of burgundy. And then I have a little bit of sort of like purpley, a couple of purples, which I might just put with the pink stack. So I don't know. I might just bag all of them up for now. And because I don't know whether I'll even have enough to do a quilt or anything, but like a full size lap quilt. We'll see. Looking at the stacks, probably not, but maybe I could do like a cool bag or something. I mean, it's stretch fabric. It's not. Anyway, I still have this big pile here, which these are all the larger pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and cut out a couple more sets of knickers. I've got 1.5 sets made. And then I need to do the bands for the legs and the waist. So I've put any of the like longer stretchy bits in here so that I can cut out some of the like leg and waist bands as well as some little knicker fronts. I've even got some like old pajamas in here. Why? Like so old. I think I kept these because my daughter really loved them and they had cute little bunnies on them. And she just really loves bunnies. So maybe I don't know what I'll do with that. Seriously, Karla. Anyway. So I'm going to bag up all of these 3-inch little scraps pieces that I've cut. I have still got this whole basket full of the smaller bits, which I might go through a little bit later, and any sort of bits that I can cut into long scrap strips, I will do that. I have been doing that throughout the cutting process to add to my scrappy strip pile for my scrappy weaving project, which is really addictive. Let me show you. Here's where I'm at so far, and it's amazing, and it feels so nice as well. Like, oh, it's just so cool. I have no idea what it will end up being, but I'm just going to keep going all the way to the top of my loom, and then, yeah, look how big this pile of strips is, and that's all I've done half almost, and I feel like I've not even made a dent in the strips. So yeah, this might have to be one of those things that I sort of organize and put somewhere that's accessible so that I can get it out and do it on an evening for fun. It's very relaxing, I have to say. Okay, so I have gone through all the fabric and I have cut out enough for 3 pairs of knickers. Very scrappy, very colourful. Like this one's going to have a yellow waistband. This one's made out of like an old top where the fabric was still really good condition. So I've cut out those. One set I did have to cut out just some normal elastic because I didn't have enough fabric that sort of made sense. That was the right type of fabric and length for the leg bands, I think. So they'll just be elastic. So I've got those to stitch up. Oh, and I had a pair of leggings that had like scribble marks all down the leg. So what I've done is I've just cut them into shorts, and then the good part of the leg that didn't have scribble on it, I've cut some cuffs which I will stitch onto the bottom of these shorts. So then I can get a couple more, well, not me, obviously, they're for my child, but she can get a few more months wear out of them. So I'm really happy with that, and I'll get sewing those at some point. I'll put them aside so they're ready to go when I feel like whipping something up really quickly. I have finished, finally, and look how many scrap strips I have for weaving. I literally had to get another box out because there's just so many, because as I was cutting through these scraps, which I still have, some of them I have been cutting into like strips, like bits that I'm probably not going to reuse for anything. There's also a whole bunch of really small pieces in this box. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I might try and cut the bigger pieces into strips, and just at least I know that this will be going into weaving projects, whatever I decide to do with all the things that I weave out of the scraps. And then the smaller things, smaller bits, I don't know, I might use them to stuff another cat bed maybe. We'll see. But I've gone through, I even managed to get some more 3-inch squares, so I'm going to add that to the rest in the cupboard. And I went through and I've got a nice neat little stack of the bigger pieces. Some of the fabric that I had, I decided not to cut up into smaller squares because I had quite a bit of it, like enough to make, you know, like, I don't know, like a top for one of my kids or something. So I've decided to keep those. I also had a bunch of this rib stretch knit, and like, yeah, they're small pieces like this, but enough to make like cuffs on a top or something, or on pants or whatever. So I have kept that in a nice neat pile. I do need to unpick some of this, so I'm going to unpick that tonight, and then that can go back in the cupboard nice and neat. That's a way, man, what an effort that has been. But I hope it's inspired you to do the same and get organized, because I definitely am inspired, and I feel so much better because check this out. Let me show you the inside of my cupboard now. So I now have obviously one tub that will go here, but it's not going to be flowing. And then look, 1.5 inch fabric scraps. I've got my tray here with the stuff I did earlier. I've then got my jersey scraps that I just finished cutting. I'll take that out because I'm going to add those little bits to it. And then I've also got this nice neat little pile. Actually, I might put that there. There we go. And I'll put the other jersey scraps in here. And happy days. And then I can put this scrap thing right here until I decide what to do with it. And it's just much more organized and tidy, and I'm really, really pleased. Please let me know in the comments what you're most excited to see me do with these scraps. Is it the weaving project, or perhaps that scrappy quilt out of the jersey squares, or maybe even one of the other potential projects? Like, I have no idea what I'm going to do with those 1.5 inch strips or those 2-inch strips, something. Let me know what you think I should do in the comments below. I would love some ideas. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this kind of style of hanging out, podcast, vlog, video, also let me know, because I'm keen to do some more of these. They're great fun, and it's like I'm just hanging out with a sewing buddy. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.